Have you ever stopped to wonder, what if the absolute biggest risk in your life isn't actually failing? What if it's spending years, maybe decades, on a path that feels completely safe? We're taught from day one that playing by the rules guarantees success. But what happens when the rules of the game have fundamentally changed? Since we're little, we're practically programmed to avoid failure at all costs. We're told to seek certainty, right? Lock in that predictable degree, get the stable job, secure the reliable retirement fund. It is drilled into us that this is exactly how you win. But here's a hidden truth that changes everything. Spending your best years on a conventional track that feels 100% secure might actually be the most dangerous choice you can make. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly why running away from short-term discomfort virtually guarantees long-term mediocrity. You'll see how the math of success actually flips completely when you stop trying to eliminate risk. And you'll learn why the people making extraordinary progress approach uncertainty in a totally different way. So let's dive into the silent cost of playing it safe. Section 1, the illusion of safety. Let's dig into the psychological root of this fear. If you've ever felt incredibly frustrated doing everything quote-unquote right, checking all the conventional boxes, doing exactly what you were told, but you still feel completely stuck, you are definitely not alone. And more importantly, it is not your fault. It's actually a hangover from a totally different era. You see, for much of the 20th century, a highly centralized economy created a historical anomaly. Giant corporations and a massive mass market culture heavily rewarded blending in. Playing it safe, joining a massive hierarchy, and just quietly climbing the corporate ladder step by step wasn't just common sense, it was the guaranteed ticket to a good life. But that factory floor world, it's gone. Yet our psychological conditioning still remains. Section 2. The comfort trap. That outdated conditioning created what's essentially a comfort trap, and it paralyzes ambitious people today. It locks them into a completely predictable, yet increasingly fragile life trajectory. Just think about how normal this timeline feels to us. You spend 18 years going to school, you get a safe job around 22, and then you just quietly wait it out until retirement at 65. In the past, this linear path was genuinely safe. Today, it's a guaranteed recipe for stagnation. Because the modern world isn't centralized anymore. It's wildly dynamic, and it overwhelmingly rewards those who stand out, not those who just blend in. And this brings us to a heavy truth. Avoiding risk does not eliminate risk. It merely transforms it. When you opt for excessive safety, you are unknowingly sacrificing growth, opportunity, freedom, and the chance for genuinely extraordinary outcomes. You're trading the highly visible risk of failing today for the invisible, creeping risk of never truly fulfilling your potential. You really have to ask yourself, are you actually avoiding failure, or are you just avoiding the temporary discomfort of growth?
Section 3. The right kind of crazy.
So if the safe path is fundamentally broken, what does the right path actually look like? Well, to understand the hidden cause of true innovation, we have to recognize one key thing. Massive progress almost always looks completely irrational to the masses at first. There's this paradox to progress that top investors know all too well. It goes like this. A good new idea has to seem bad to most people, or someone would have already explored it. Outlier ideas exist right in the shadow of conventional wisdom. If you want extraordinary results, you have to embrace a little bit of strangeness. You literally have to be willing to look like a fool to all the people desperately clinging to that safe, linear path. Which brings us to a fascinating concept, passive, independent-mindedness. It's basically the ability to discover new things simply by being ignorant of or entirely indifferent to conventional rules. This is exactly why novices and outsiders so often make the biggest breakthroughs. They aren't bound by the established laws of their fields because, well, they either simply don't know them or they just don't care. Think of the founders who revolutionized the entire hotel industry without ever owning a single piece of real estate, or the outsiders who disrupted the taxi business without owning any cars. They succeeded precisely because they were completely ignorant of how those industries were supposed to work. But here is the really interesting part. Section 4. The math of extraordinary. It's one thing to have a strange idea or to break a rule, but how do these small acts of courage actually turn into a lifetime of immense value? How do they build momentum in the real world? To understand this, let's break down how the math actually works. The rewards for taking calculated risks operate on a completely different scale than the traditional safe path we were all sold. Think about linear growth. That's the safe path. You get a slight, predictable raise every year. It feels incredibly secure. But then think about the uncertain path. It begins with this brutal flatline phase. This is exactly where most people quit. The uncertain path feels dangerously flat, sometimes for years. You're experimenting, you're learning, you're failing, but if you push through that flat line, you hit exponential growth, and the value completely explodes. This is where the math of success completely flips on its head. Exponential growth is practically invisible at the start. What mathematically separates extraordinary outcomes from average ones isn't some massive overnight leap. It's consistency. It is doing slightly too hard work that compounds, day by day, during that unrewarding flatline phase. This is the period where your friends are getting promoted on the safe path, and you look like you're going absolutely nowhere. It is psychologically brutal, but mathematically, you are building the exact foundation required for an exponential leap. Section 5. How to stay upwind. So how do we actually do this in real life? How do we abandon rigid 20-year corporate planning to actually hit that exponential curve? You stay upwind. You don't need a perfectly mapped plan. Instead, try following these 3 steps. Step 1. Follow excessive curiosity. What are you excessively curious about, like to a degree that would bore most other people? Step 2. As you get to the edge of knowledge in that topic, notice the gaps. Look for the anomalies everyone else just takes for granted. And step 3, boldly explore those promising cracks. Instead of planning your career 10 years out, act like an explorer, tracking ascent. Let your genuine curiosity act as both your engine and your rudder. I promise you, it is vastly superior to following a predetermined, safe plan.
But what most people completely miss is that while they are sketching out their perfect safe plans, they're actually falling into the most dangerous, silent pitfall that ambitious people face. There is a massive, massive difference between per-day procrastination and per-project procrastination. Per-day procrastination is putting off a task for a few hours to scroll on your phone. It's a minor flaw, we all do it. But per-project procrastination, that is lethal. It's when you delay writing that book, starting that business, or making that massive career pivot for years, all while camouflaging your fear with busy, safe work. You tell yourself you'll do it when you have more savings, or when the kids are older, or when the timing is absolutely perfect. And when you procrastinate in units of years, you can get a whole lot of life not done.
Section 6. The ultimate risk. Let's hold a stark mirror up to the choices you make every single day. Here is what you really need to take away from this explainer today. Stop drifting on conventional tracks laid down by an industrial economy that literally no longer exists. Stop waiting for the right time. It's an illusion, and honestly, it is never going to arrive. Instead, start letting your genuine curiosity lead you. Start making small bets on those outlier ideas, those tinctures of strangeness. Stop protecting your ego from short-term failure, and start leveraging the profound compounding advantages of uncertainty. Because when it's all said and done, the absolute biggest risk you can take is a life unfulfilled. The true cost of playing it safe is the extraordinary life you never gave yourself the chance to discover. You owe it to yourself to step off the well-worn path, embrace the discomfort, and find out what is really waiting on the other side of that flatline phase.
So I want to leave you with a powerful reflection. What is one thing you've been postponing because it feels safer to wait? Think about it deeply. What opportunity are you avoiding just because you're waiting until you feel completely ready? Let me know in the comments below. I really love reading them. And if you found value in this explainer today, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who really needs to hear this. Keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.